Good morning, and welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're joining us today. We have a packed show for you, with updates from around the world. From the latest developments in international diplomacy to stories that are making headlines here at home, we'll be covering it all. First up, let's take a look at some of the top news stories from overnight. In a significant development, a new deal between the UK and France aimed at reducing migrant crossings has come into effect. The agreement allows Britain to return some migrants who cross the Channel in small boats back to France. This move is part of a broader effort by both countries to address the issue of illegal migration and to find more effective solutions for managing their borders. In other news, Russian President Vladimir Putin is reportedly skeptical about the impact of U.S. sanctions, according to sources close to the Kremlin. This comes as the U.S. has threatened to impose further economic penalties if Russia does not agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. The situation remains volatile, with both sides dug in and little sign of a resolution. We're also following a story from Japan, where a Taiwanese vessel has been accused of conducting an unauthorized survey in Japanese waters for the second time. This incident highlights ongoing tensions between the two nations over issues of sovereignty and territorial rights. Here at home, we'll be keeping an eye on developments related to trade talks and the potential impact on our economy. As always, we'll strive to bring you balanced and comprehensive coverage of these complex issues. That's all for now in our opening segment. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into a very concerning story unfolding in Sudan. The country has been plagued by conflict and famine, leaving millions of people, especially children, on the brink of disaster. According to reports from the United Nations, the situation in Sudan is dire. Malnutrition is rampant, with many children reduced to skin and bones. The World Food Programme has warned that severe food shortages have led to drastic price increases for scarce supplies, forcing people to eat animal fodder and food waste just to survive. The conflict between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, has intensified in recent months, with both sides blaming each other for attacks on civilians. The city of El-Fasher in particular has been under siege, with trade routes cut off and supply lines blocked. We've heard heart-wrenching stories from those who have managed to flee the city, including an 8-year-old girl named Sandos, who told the WFP that she and her family were surviving on only millet. The International Organization for Migration reports that over 1 million people have fled El-Fasher since the conflict began. The UN has been pushing for a humanitarian truce, but so far it's been met with resistance from the RSF. The organization's Sudan representative, Sheldon Yett, has warned that resources are stretched to the limit due to recent funding cuts, and that the situation is on the verge of becoming a catastrophe. It's essential to note that both sides of the conflict have been accused of human rights abuses, and it's crucial that we hold all parties accountable for their actions. The international community must come together to provide urgent support to those affected by this crisis. As we continue to follow this story, we'll bring you updates and insights from experts on the ground. For now, it's clear that the people of Sudan need our attention and support. We urge world leaders to take immediate action to address this humanitarian crisis and work towards a peaceful resolution. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're closing out today's show with a story that's been making waves in Eastern Europe. A court in Moldova has sentenced the pro-Russian governor of the autonomous Gagauzia region, Evgenia Gutul, to 7 years in prison for allegedly funneling Russian money to a banned political party. The Kremlin has condemned the decision, calling it politically motivated and an example of open and arguably unlawful pressure on political opponents. Now, Let's take a step back and look at the context here. Moldova is set to hold parliamentary elections in September, and tensions are running high. The country's president, Maya Sandu, has accused Russia of planning to interfere in the elections, and Gutul's sentencing has only added fuel to the fire. It's worth noting that Gutul has denied any wrongdoing, and her supporters have staged protests outside the courthouse. The situation is complex, with both sides presenting different narratives. On one hand, the Moldovan government claims that Gutul was involved in illicit activities, while on the other hand, the Kremlin sees this as an attempt to suppress opposition voices. As we try to make sense of this story, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and avoid taking sides. The relationship between Moldova and Russia is intricate, with historical, cultural, and economic ties at play. The Gagauzia region, where Gutul was governor, has a significant Russian-speaking population and has sought greater autonomy in the past. As we wrap up this segment, it's clear that the situation in Moldova will continue to unfold in the coming weeks and months. We'll be keeping an eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Barbarous Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.